Então vamos lá, comentando os jogos clássicos, 12ª rodada, já vamos chegando perto do corte para a top 4 que esse evento teve. Lembrando que é o Pro Tour de 25 anos, né, um especial aqui que eu quis fazer com esse Pro Tour, que foi trios. São 3 jogadores jogando, cada um formato, Legacy, Modern, Standard, jogando em melhor de 3. Quem ganhar 2 partidas primeiro, ganha, né, leva a rodada. E a gente vai pegar uma partida importante lá da parte de cima da tabela. Dá um pulinho aqui rápido nela. Que tem o Huang versus o Shenhar. Vamos esperar que eles colocarem os decks certinho dos jogadores. Mas já começam as partidas bem... A gente tem o Huang e o Yang e o Sajgalik, o Eduardo Sajgalik, que é um jogador inglês, contra o Rizzi, Shenhar e Wilson. Então a gente tem no Legacy Temur Delver versus Temur Delver. No Modern a gente tem Humans versus o W Control. E no T2 a gente tem Turbo Fog versus Esper Control. Decks populares na época desse Pro Tour. O Humans, né, que tava bem no seu auge. Que o W era aquele W lá de sempre. Eu só não sei se ele tá com a versão com milagres ou sem. A versão com milagres é um pouco mais chatinha. E Mantis Rider. Marcador?
It's because of the existence of the Humans deck. The Humans deck plays Meddling Mage, and Humans is one of the most popular decks in Modern. As a result, if you have multiple removal spells,
5 de dano.
do the same thing, it's better to diversify
O que o Rizzi vai fazer?
O
Wilson ali, acho que deve ser o Jacob Wilson, mas eu quero confirmar. Não, pra ele tá dando esse opt, provavelmente a versão com términos e milagres, etc.
But as you can see, he's looking at the top of the deck, and opt is an inclusion to these blue-white control decks because you can actually use it in conjunction with
Sphere. Eu lembro que era uma match bem chata de jogar de humans com, sim. Porque Path é muito bom contra você, tá ligado? Você tem pouquíssimos terrenos básicos. Então, sei lá pelo segundo, às vezes terceiro Path, uma mana, foi embora. Só fica triste mesmo.
As well as a Cryptic Command and a Detention Sphere plus a Plains. He just found the Detention Sphere off of that opt. He chose to put the card on the bottom and then drew the sphere.
Yeah, and Huang opting to make kind of an adjustment to the Humans deck that we've seen a lot of different players choose for this.
Ele coloca uma ilha, mas é bem desagradável tomar esse tipo de remoção nessa match. Essa match era bem chatinha de jogar. Tinha algumas versões de umas que usavam Bob pra tentar ganhar dela. Opa, é muito bom pra isso. Jabil. Mas mandou ali um outro tenente, empurrou um pouco mais de dano, mas vai tomar uma esfera. Vai doer significativamente. À vontade de recolher.
Wow, and Rizzi gets to live the dream.
Oh, double trouble.
Double Thalia's Lieutenant. And the Humans deck has no answer, no way to get rid of the Detention Sphere game 1.
Aquela coisa, o W ele não apostava muito em counter, então suas cavernas não ficavam exatamente boas. Era um monte de remoção. Era bem desagradável de jogar essa match.
All Haoshan can do is say, okay, well, I guess I'll take my Ether Vial up to 3, but he better have something powerful here.
Yeah, so what Huang is considering here is you know, he does have a Meddling Mage in hand and the Vial on 3. He can choose to just deploy both of them and just try to figure out what to name with that Meddling Mage. It's really difficult because there are a lot of different sweepers in Rizzi's deck. The one that is most common, however, is
Meddling Mage, not bad.
but he is pretty far away from actually.
Fica a pergunta do que ele vai nomear. Tipo, acho que Path é bem justo. Path, Terminus, cartas bem justas.
Two copies of Jace the Mind Sculptor, which does allow him to try to set up situations where
3, Insider, bate 3. Desenvolveu bem. Se o Haoshan nomear direito, ele ainda está no game, mano. Bem.
And Rizzi currently with lots of powerful spells in hand, but a little light on mana.
Yep, and he's missing a land drop this turn, in fact. Facing down that Mantis Rider, he does have the answer to it with Path to Exile. He's got a Teferi Hero of Dominaria in hand. Yeah, we're still in Modern.
Wow, Thalia's Lieutenant number 3.
Tenente. Terceiro tenente do game.
That's a really good draw step there for Haoshan. It lets him put counters on both of his other
E
creatures.
bate. Não tem o que fazer, cara. É bater. Bom, não foi Pepe que foi nomeado ali, claramente.
Matai is only taking 3 damage this turn, but still.
But Hao is out of cards. And Rizzi does have the Terminuses. If he can find a Terminus here off the top, if he can Miracle one into play, he's going to be looking really good because his hand is full of
Ele pode ter nomeado o Veredito Supremo também, tá muito perto. Faz sentido. É uma Fetch, dá pra fazer um Jace, controlar o topo do adversário.
But it's also shown up in Modern and even some blue-white Legacy control decks. I've seen it all over the place. So very, very important here that Rizzi found land number 4, has a multitude of options here.
Jace, Cryptic Command. Maybe he just wants to buy himself another turn with a Cryptic, a bounce and a tap, or a draw and a tap, or something along those lines.
Right, so Jace doesn't do a whole lot here, in the sense that if he uses a Jace to bounce the Meddling Mage, then Huang can just replay the Meddling Mage, and then the Thalia's Lieutenant could get rid of the Jace. He could choose to use the Jace as a very expensive Brainstorm effect by playing it and just...
Tipo, o Haoshan ainda tá empurrando dano, tá ligado? Ele ainda tá no game, porque o adversário ficou um pouco pra trás. Então. Existe um game aqui acontecendo. Tá muito no limite.
And draw a card. Certainly a reasonable option. Buy you some life and also draw a card. Try to smooth out your draws. Look for a sweeper. So one interesting thing is, I guess Huang has Ether Vial on 3, but had he had it on 2, there could have been a situation where, you know, Huang goes Combat Stab, Rizzi tries to fetch that Flooded Strand. In response, if Huang had the read, he could put it in Meddling Mage and name Cryptic Command.
By the way, I was wrong earlier. It wasn't Supreme Verdict. It was Snapcaster Mage named by the Meddling Mage.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so that's something that we'll keep in mind, though. Not currently relevant, as there are no Snapcasters in hand here for Rizzi. But a second copy of Meddling Mage is now on the stack, and now the time is now for him to decide if he wants to cast the Supreme, the Cryptic Command.
Até o fim acompanhando a live, mas tô morto. Tu dorme lá, cara, descansa lá. Lembrando, depois tudo vai pro YouTube, tá tranquilo. E a gente não deve terminar o Pro Tour hoje, tá ligado? Na próxima quarta só que eu devo terminar.
Huang's team and draw a card, and I think that's probably what he's going to look to do here.
That was his plan anyway, and he has to do it now, or else risk Haoshan saying Cryptic Command.
Gosto da interação.
Yeah, what else could Rizzi...
Ah, mas pensa que as rodadas finais, que são as boas rodadas desse Pro Tour mesmo, é a semana que vem. Talvez sejam 2 semanas ainda desse Pro Tour, porque tem final, a gente tá na 12, 13, 14. É, não. Deve ser semana que vem que eu devo fechar. Eu vi no YouTube e quero comentar. Comente. Segura não. Comando vira tap. Meddling Mage. Um ponto interessante aqui é que, tipo, fica com 7 de dano na mesa do Haoshan, dependendo do que ele nomear e do que vier, obviamente, por Rizzi. É letal. É um letal muito bizarro, tá ligado? Porque o Rizzi basicamente não se desenvolveu. Ele vai ter que, tipo, jogar um Jace ali no meio da galera. Vai ficar mencionando. Ah, tem uma cólera.
I mean, Terminus is the card that Rizzi has the most copies of in his deck, so that makes sense. What did he name? Rizzi's untapping pretty quickly. I don't think he named Wrath of God.
It wasn't Wrath of God because he just put it on the stack, and you can't even do that. So
E é isso. E aí o game acaba, velho. Não tem o que fazer. O cara tem que comprar ridiculamente bem agora pra não perder o jogo.
Haoshan still stone cold top deck, and he has nothing going on. And he just passes the turn back. Now we're going to see Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Yeah, now Jace is going to be slammed onto the battlefield. Oh, he drew land number
Teferão
5.
mesmo.
You know what?
Teferão. Abraço.
You know what? Play Teferi.
That's right.
Untap your lands. Even found a play to utilize his mana with that opt.
Oof, that's nice. I like that.
He now has all of the options available to him, and it's going to be really difficult for Haoshan to get out of this.
Yeah, he's got to go through the
Tenentão, ó que bacana. Vai fazer muito nesse.
I think we're just about done here. It feels like only drawing one card per turn for Haoshan. It's going to be almost impossible for him to keep
Is
up
this the
with
terminus? No, okay.
Would you cast it?
Probably not. You have
Achou um
Jace.
counter que não vai fazer muita coisa.
I don't know how many other instant speed card draw effects he was.
Achou o Snapcaster pra dar path, que provavelmente já vai levar tudo. Tem como fazer Jace Mind Sculptor. Esse game tá acabado. Assim como tá 1 a 0 pro Wilson no Mirror de Temurdel.
Teferi and Jace, best buds.
Oh my god, that is nasty. I'm loving this.
Oh yeah.
Então vai ser ele der aquele, o Jace que olha o topo, tá ligado? Esse Jace é desgraçado demais.
Rizzi a land here. Yep.
Olha, se não me engano, ele tem um Terminus na mão. Ele pode só colocar o Terminus no topo, dar Terminus e aí o game tá controlado.
He's flicking the cards just a lot more crisp. He's like, I got 2 planeswalkers in play. You to name Wrath of God. I'm feeling pretty good here.
Has he perhaps already played his land for the turn?
No, he hasn't played a land, right? He played Teferi last turn.
He didn't put his card.
Tá avisando ali do juiz, ó, então, fiz um terreno extra, esqueci, tal, etc, tal, eu que percebi.
He's like, I was so far ahead, I forgot.
Falando com o juiz italiano, né, o Salvatore. Pronto, aí agora ele pode fazer o terreno. É que ele esqueceu de devolver ele. Ah, tal, esqueci o negócio aqui, tal, papá. Vira, tem comando críptico, provavelmente colocou um Terminus no topo. Game lost. Ia ser engraçado. Porque o tom do cara tava meio disso, né? Ai, meu Deus, eu não quero perder o jogo.
He's got that colonnade on the battlefield as well.
Haoshan's like, what am I even supposed to do here? Attack you? Before blocks. Snapcaster Mage. Opt, I guess?
He could target Opt or Path to Exile.
Path to Exile, yeah, why not? You might as well keep the Snapcaster around.
Block, tá?
Okay. I guess he's just going to prevent Haoshan from casting another creature this turn anyway.
He just wanted to play an Ambush Viper, you know?
Sometimes you do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Get all these planeswalkers.
Ah, não, agora esse game foi pro espaço.
Yeah, poor Rizzi.
Oh, look at this, another Jace.
He's Jace flooded.
Yeah.
Rizzi has a Jace on the battlefield and 2.
Cara, subiu o Jace e pronto, tá controlado.
I mean, he has so many cards. He might be plussing Jace at this point because you know that is a legitimate way to win the game.
Yeah.
Fica aí dele falando, não vou ficar não. Não vou ficar não, jovem. Eu não tenho que passar por isso não. Vamos para o jogo do Jacob Wilson com o Bardo Stag. Mirrorzinho de Canadian, Free Showed, famoso Temur Delver.
Fun nostalgia, especially if you used to play back in the day. I think you will enjoy it. In the meantime, table A.
Underzinho ali achando Red Elemental Blast. Mas vai embaralhar. Se o Jacob Wilson ganha que ele abre 1 a 0 pra equipe dele. Ainda ele sabe que na mesa do Standard tem Esper Control versus Turbo Fog, o duelo que ninguém quer ver. E no meio tem o Rizzi já fazendo 1-0 em cima do Huang e vai abrir provavelmente 2-0 porque essa match.
Teamer Delver decks that we've seen in the past. You know, primarily the win conditions in other Teamer Delver decks have been Nimble Mongoose, Tarmogoyf, and Delver of Secrets. Here, Eduardo has opted to forego the Nimble Mongooses for 4 copies of Bowmat Courier.
O Ponder.
Oh, that is different.
Get it.
Nossa Mirror.
Love it. In the meantime, Jacob Wilson says, you know, I like your style. I'm going to play the exact same Tropical Island, and I'm going to play the exact same artwork on Ponder. Let's see if he shuffles, too. Also interesting to note here is Eduardo does have a copy of Daze in his hand, but has chosen not to deploy it here. Not going to fight over the cantrips, it seems.
Right.
This time,
Submerge ali pra voltar alguma coisa.
no shuffle for him.
Tarmogoyf.
You see a Wasteland in hand now for Sajgalik, but he's also got a Brainstorm.
Yeah, both decks.
Quero ver se ele vai tentar desenvolver a mesa ou se ele vai mandar uma Wasteland.
Daze will be able to find a target.
He's going to kick things off by just Wastelanding and then passing the turn back. Nothing else to do.
Yeah, and a common play there too is using a Wasteland to get your opponent's land off the battlefield so that you can play around Daze.
Vale a pena dar um Daze nesse Ponder? Acho que ele pensou um pouco sobre, mas ele deve ter achado um pouco cedo. Tem isso aí também.
There's a Delver.
This might be something that gets dazed here.
Deixa uma mana na pool, Daze, pra não tomar outro Daze, né? Daí depois ele faz Brainstorm e aí se tomar Daze é...
Not only be able to play the Brainstorm that he has in hand, but also just to potentially, you know,
E não fez. Não quis arriscar tomar um Daze.
Starting out a little slow here.
E vai.
Land go, but nothing on board for either player outside of the land.
And Eduardo Sajgalik has a nice little sideboard tech.
Mongoose.
Merge.
He does have one in his hand right now, and it is now live thanks to that Tropical Island hitting the battlefield for Wilson.
But cannot target the Nimble Mongoose.
Nimble indeed. Yeah. Paul, would they ever print a card like Nimble Mongoose now? Maybe.
Yeah,
Submerge.
remember, Shroud is not
Seu oponente controla uma floresta e você controla uma ilha, você pode jogar... Pagar o custo, ele manda pro topo. Catinha de jogar contra. Pior ainda jogar com ela quando ela não vem. Até hoje, com isso no coração. Da vez que eu joguei com isso. A carta não vinha.
For Jacob Wilson, that Nimble Mongoose, just a 1/1 currently, but if you've ever seen this Teamer Delver, it's also called Rug Delver, also called Canadian Threshold at one point.
Lots of names.
Yeah,
lots of names.
it does have the ability.
It has been around for a long time.
It has.
You know, for a good period of time, it was kind of
E aí?
the, you know, most people opted to play Grixis Delver as, you know, you had Deathray Shaman and it was just too powerful of a card to pass up on. But given that Grixis
Achar uma fonte vermelha, matar esse Delver.
Given that Deathray Shaman is no
Nada
longer
bom.
really is no longer an option, you know, you've seen kind of different flavors of Delver also pop up. We've seen
Ele achou
blue, black,
vermelho. Se ele não achar, piora muito o jogo pro Eduardo, porque... Tem duas cartas muito boas pra trabalhar na match, mas elas simplesmente não são conjuráveis. E aí são vários turnos tomando pressão.
Yeah, but at some point, Eduardo does need to find an answer for that Nimble Mongoose.
Yes.
E Submerge.
Here's Submerge Ball.
Well, the only way to
Esse time walk tem que tomar.
for him to actually play Tarmogoyf.
Não vejo por que lutar contra ele.
That's right, but in the meantime though, he's deploying
Ele vai lutar.
to put the Delver of Secrets back on top of the library. Though it looks like Pyroblast is going to hit that, and we're going to see Daze in response. And so sorry, Delver, back on top of the library for you.
Right, but I don't know if Eduardo has... Does he have an answer? Okay, he drew a red Elemental Blast, which is an answer for the Delver of Secrets.
Yeah, he actually hit that with the Brainstorm, but decided that he wanted to buy himself some time with the Submerge.
2, 3, ele achou acho que uma Volcanic. Ele achou a Volcanic tá de boa, porque ele tem Bolt, Red Elemental Blast. E Delver não vai nunca relar nele.
Sajgalik may have wanted to find a fetch land here, because he doesn't really need both of those lightning bolts. But now he's kind of it looks. I don't know if he has a Ponder in hand. Let's take a look.
E na dúvida ele tá jogando um True Enemy Nemesis, que é a carta que ele realmente quer colocar pra trabalhar nesse jogo.
But he does have a play. He does have that True Name Nemesis that he can deploy in turn 3.
It looks to be in a good position. I mean, the Delver's Secrets, that's not going to stick around in the face of
Tarmogoyf.
Lightning Bolt. Oh, Tarmogoyf might, though.
E o Goyf cura tudo, né? Ao menos que ele tenha outro Submerge, o Goyf cura toda a defesa do Eduardo.
Red Elemental Blast isn't doing anything.
Ult, True Name...
Does Jacob Wilson have either Forcible or
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering. Because if he can counter the
Ou
True
na
Name
mão do
Nemesis, it feels like he's
Jacob
going
e
to
Dali.
win the match here. But if the True Name Nemesis resolves, that will be a big problem.
Yeah, given the amount of pressure that Jacob Wilson has on the battlefield, it seems like Sajgalik has no choice but to just tap out and play this True Name Nemesis. He also knows that there are no lands on top because he cast a Brainstorm, so he has to go for it here. And I think Jacob Wilson should go for the Brainstorm here. The Force of Will exiling the Brainstorm.
And he is, in fact, attempting that, and it worked.
Oh, total, tem 3, 6, Mangusto tá quase ativo, tem Feitiço, Terreno, Instante, Criatura, Tarmogoyf tá no básico, vai bater 5. Lau.
Jacob Wilson, as he crashes into the red zone, that Nimble Mongoose still not quite at threshold level, but it's getting there, and this one, these lightning bolts
Essa
are not
música.
going to get the
Ih,
job
tá
done.
atrasada, hein, Eduardo?
Red mana sources at the moment to maybe try to double bolt a Goyf if that would even work.
Yeah, and again, if he brainstormed, then he kind of blocked himself. There were no fetch lands. He doesn't really have.
E o Eduardo não é muito interessante pra ele anular, porque daí o Mangusto liga, e aí bate 11.
Right. He's
Guarda.
going to use Red Elemental Blast to take it down. Though the Nimble Mongoose still isn't big,
E
but
bolt.
that's lethal.
And that'll give himself threshold as well for the Nimble Mongoose.
Flusterstorm to
Boa.
counter the Lightning Bolt, but it is pure desperation mode as Sajgalik's going to fall, I think, to
Delver ali
1.
pra dar bloco e concede.
Yeah, and
1 a
that's gonna
0
do it. Jacob Wilson in
pro
two quick games
Jacob,
against Eduardo Sajgalik.
é pro trio do Jacob e Wilson.
First match for his
Foi pra
team
qual partida
this
que eles
round.
vão agora?
And once again, on
This
the
one might
left,
take some time.
it could.
Vamos para o Standard com Esper Control, que o Shenhar tá na frente.
Game one's depth
Até porque, tipo, o plano Turbo Fog não funciona contra ele, né? Então isso dá uma vantagem muito... Nesse sentido, pro trio deles aqui, deve estar bem confortável. Porque o Rizzi, ali no meio, na pior das hipóteses, Game 3 ele tá na play. E aqui o Shenhar conseguiu encaixar uma das melhores cartas que ele tem pra fazer na 2 pra ganhar essa match.
which I imagine likely boarded out most of its fogs.
Little give and go here from Shenhar. Like, hey, don't worry about it. Take those fogs out, and boom, now he's facing down a really annoying threat, right?
Yeah.
Linsley Siphoner is a source
Esse bichinho jogava muito bem, cara. Muito, muito bem.
in 1/2 mana spell. It could be a real problem for Yami if he doesn't have an answer.
And taking a look at Yan Wing-chun's list, he has a lot of ways to prevent himself from taking damage in the form of fogs, but he doesn't have an actual hard removal in his main. He does have access to Cast Out in the sideboard, which he may have brought in here, but bringing in a card like Cast Out is a little bit risky when you play against a control deck that has access to cards like Teferi to get rid of the Cast Out.
Combat trigger. Now he is up to 2 energy now, so next turn, if that thing's still there, he will be able to draw a card. And you got to figure that if Shenhar gets to start kind of cascading cards with the Siphoner, that it'll fall away pretty quickly from Yam. I mean, Shenhar does have the tools to
Não,
combat.
cara, o Char tá encaixando basicamente todas as cartas importantes dessa match. Então, tipo, ele tem as cantas pra ficar arrumando draw. A partir do próximo turno ele começa a comprar cartas. Tem uma Nissa UG ali, que foi uma carta bem legal na época dela.
More counter magic negates Jace's defeat. The rest are all cards that Shenhar could have into the sideboard, and those are all highly effective.
Pushes and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, Fatal Push. Vraska's Contempt you'll definitely keep.
Issa.
The deck does play Teferi and Karn, but yeah, I mean those basically 4 Fatal Push and Cast.
Eu lembro que essa Nissa dá Scry. Eu acho que ela dá menos, você joga a carta do topo. Não, é o 0. Você joga uma carta do topo e tem um custo menor que a devoção dela. Acho que é alguma parada assim. Porque, pior que eu joguei com isso, cara. Isso que é o mais bizarro. Eu cheguei a jogar com isso uma época. Eu joguei em PPTQ com isso. Era uma tech pra ganhar Mirror.
There is a a singular
Até
copy
que
of
horrível.
Oath of Teferi in his deck. So, what Oath of Teferi does is it allows you to use your Planeswalker abilities an additional time. So you can do some really, really sweet things with Oath of Teferi, especially with a card like Teferi, where you get to draw 2 cards. End of turn, you can tap 4 mana, float the mana, untap those 4 lands, and then you can cast actually Nexus of Fate at instant speed.
Oh my, that's insane. And of course, if you combine
Com uma carta a mais, com a Sinfonadora. Olha, um card, agora ele consegue passar com counters e encaixando as ameaças dele. A vida tá bem tranquila até com o Shenhar. Apesar de ter um Planeswalker do outro lado.
On top of just a slew of counter magic. It's going to be really, really difficult for Yan Wing Chun to just fight through all of this. Was that a Carnage Tyrant?
Carne de Tyrant na mão do Turbo Fog. O que tá acontecendo, bro?
In Yan Wing Chun's sideboard, you know what I love about Yan Wing Chun's sideboard? It's 4 cards. He's just keeping it simple here. He's got a bunch of counter spells, some cast outs, and a Carnage Tyrant here. So he's got a Carnage Tyrant and
Carne de Tyrant. Lá do Trample Hexproof, esse bicho é bizarro, bro.
In order to fight your game 1 strategies, to bring in a lot of counter spells, right?
Quem tripar.
A lot of people bringing in cards like Negate, and if you just manage to have 4 gigantic uncounterable hexproof dinosaurs,
ganhando energia significa mais um.
Oftentimes you'll see these, blue-white control decks, for example, board out their Fumigates and their Settle the Wreckage.
Coisa.
If they do that, I mean, Carney T can do a lot of work.
Isso, draw, energia, dá outro draw. Mais coisas e Exercício de Fit, Glimmer of Genius, também que vai resolver na mão do Ian.
He's got a couple of what looks like mountains. Those are not actually mountains. Those are actually Nexus of Fates in his deck, and he was allowed to proxy them as the only available Nexus of Fate is a foil. So he just didn't want to make sure.
Eles estão falando de uma situação bem interessante que é assim, o Nexus of Fate só tinha versão foil, né? Porque ele era de Boia Box. E isso marcava no deck. Então, torneios profissionais e tal, você apresentava os seus Nexus of Fates pro juiz e ele fazia uma proxy pra você pra não ficar marcado, né? No caso, esses proxies eram montanhas. Era bem comum serem montanhas. Ó Deus, por quê? Mas aí, tipo, que eles estavam falando, né, que na mão do Ian tem 2 montanhas que na verdade são Nexus of Fates. Então, pequenos detalhes que vão acontecer. Pô, draw. É uma coisa, tipo, o Shenhar tá com 2 milhões de draws, tal, etc. Que bacana. Mas, cara, esse Tyrant vai cortar ele no meio. Vai simplesmente cortar ele no meio.
Currently, Nissa will not be able to die because they are just trading +2 and 2 damage back and forth. And both of them also kind of smoothing out their draws. Nissa with the Scry ability and Glintsleeve Siphoner with the card draw effect.
An embarrassment of riches now for Shenhar as he's got 8 cards in hand and actually has to discard. I think I know what time it is.
Eu imagino que o Huang vai rushar esse Carnage Time.
What is Shenhar gonna do?
I don't even...
It's uncounterable. Does he have?
He has Torrential Gearhulk, but that doesn't size up very well against Carnage Tyrant. He might need to double block with Glintsleeve Siphoner and a Torrential Gearhulk.
And he'd lose both?
Right. He also has a Scarab God in his deck, which he could potentially draw.
Carnage Tyrant.
There it is!
There
it is! Carnage Tyrant hits the battlefield, can't be countered, is huge, and even has hexproof.
Yeah.
And Shenhar goes, yep.
Yeah, but this was an Andrew Brown special. Now, Andrew Brown is a member of Play Design, and he was kind of known for being the control player. He won a Grand Prix playing a control deck, and
he made Carnage?
No. So then he was given the task. It's like, hey, if control decks are too strong, we need a good countermeasure. Give us the best creature that you can make that's good against control decks.
Smart.
And he's like, coming right up, Carnage.
Porque fazendo isso, essa Sinfonadora é relativamente pior, até porque ela tá completamente locada pela Nissa. Mas agora o Shenhar vai ter que pensar bastante na vida. Ele tem o Deus do Bigode, uma ótima carta. ele tem... Ele pode ficar tentando passar com counters e aí encaixar um Gear Hook. E o problema do plano de tentar o Gear Hook é que daí quem pode ter um monte de counter é o Huang, que tá arrumando a mão dele o tempo todo. E o Shenhar falou, vamos checar o que tem. Counter 2 Nexus. O problema de, por exemplo, agora passar full tapped é que pode ser, tipo, bater o Carnage, Nexus, Nexus. Sei lá, vi. A vida tem dessas, colega. Ele pode fazer, tipo, Deus do bigode, cair lá pro double block, tomar, ver essa Nissa crescer. Tirar o Nexus.
Nexus of Fate, attack you again.
7, 14, 21.
Siphoner will not get it done.
No, especially with trample. So now what?
Não vai ter briga de counter tão cedo. Talvez ele possa tirar esse counter, tirar um... Quer dizer, ignorar esse counter, tirar o Nexus, ficar com Deus no bigode. E aí depois ele força Perru. É uma linha. É o que ele vai fazer, tirou, né?
These players are testing for the Pro Tour, they're so focused on the format that they're responsible for, they feel like they can't contribute enough. But the one format I think a lot of the pros can assist in is Standard, because just over the course of the last year, people just play a lot of Standard. So that's the one format.
Eles falando um pouco sobre as escolhas de decks e tal, como é que eles fazem. E normalmente do Legacy e do Modern, os outros jogadores não opinam muito, porque você foca mais no formato que você está preocupado, menos no Standard. O Standard todo mundo está jogando muito. Era uma época que isso acontecia muito, né? Praticamente todo evento importante era Standard. E aí você... Daí ele falou, né? Daí meio que todo mundo pode contribuir, todo mundo pode opinar mais, a partida fica um pouco mais interessante nesse sentido. Tirando aí, quebrou as pernas.
Shenhar can just double block with the Scarab God and the Siphoner, and then at the end of turn, the Scarab God will be returned to Shenhar's hand.
Yeah, Yang would really love to just get rid of one of those creatures, even temporarily, but...
Yeah. He does have the ability to tick up Nissa, and then play a Nexus of Fate. Actually, it's better to
Nexus of Fate primeiro, né? Porque daí ele vai embaralhar e depois... E ele pode bater com esse tirano. É uma possibilidade de bater com esse tirano.
But the problem is that if he does attack, he's losing his Carnage Turner. So this Nexus of Fate went from being put huge pressure on your life total to the point that if I find a second copy, the game ends, to draw a card?
Yeah, well, you know, well, Scry 2 draw a card.
Scry 2 draw a card thanks to the Planeswalker. Okay. 7 mana preordain.
Right. And then you also get the Nissa a little bit closer to ultimating.
Right.
Get to turn some of your lands. Oh, that's a Nexus of Fate.
It was.
And that's a Teferi that he currently cannot cast, I believe. He does not have access to any white mana right now.
We see one white mana source in his graveyard.
The thing is, getting a Nexus of Fate is pretty free. I mean, you draw it, you cast it, and you do just get 2 additional loyalty counters on the Nissa. So there's no reason not to put the Nexus of Fate on top.
Right. And he does.
Topo mesmo, pelo jeito tem um Nexus ali. Quero ver se ele vai bater com o tirano. Essa que é pra mim a grande dúvida do game por enquanto.
Yeah, I've seen multiple different players use different strategies to kind of denote how many turns they have. Because sometimes when this deck goes off, you can have multiple turns like in the queue.
Tirano vai ficar pelo jeito.
And I believe I saw one player have 5 turns on the stack. And his opponent still did not concede, but it was just funny to see just a little thing that says extra turns with the number 5 on it. So here, as you can see,
O bom é que a lista tá muito grande, já pode começar a revelar a card do topo e... Exato.
Until end of turn. So they are not permanent, which is, you know, kind of a mode you see on a lot of other Nissas that we.
E vamos fazer 2 elementais com voar, não necessariamente.
Yes, I actually got to see Yang Wing-Chun
É uma coisa pra se fazer. Vai subir pra dar mais square.
Okay, that is a possibility.
Outro Nexo.
He did.
He did?
Yeah, I think he found Anticipate Nexus of Fate.
Wow.
Agora ele acha mana pra ter Fairy.
Okay, well. Oh, and he has a white source. He's got that irrigated farmland.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Nexus of Fate and Shahar's gotta be
Bacana
like,
que é Nexus of Fate, viu? Puta que pariu.
How many do you have?
All of them.
All of them. All right, so yeah, Wing gets another turn, likely going to use the Nissa ability to scry here to find some action. I don't know if he brought in the cast outs, but they would be very good here if you could use it on the Scarab God. Then he could start attacking with the Carnage Tyrant.
Yeah, especially with that farmland now.
Alright. Time to scry.
Dá draw, ele pode dar scry.
What is she at 10 now?
Vai subir.
He's currently at 10.
Aí ele vai poder comprar qualquer coisa. Achou um cast out.
Oh, there was a cast out. Yes.
Permite o tirano bater em cima do Deus do Bigode. Ou ele pode só fazer Teferi, desvira, aí ele tira o Deus do Bigode. Que é uma jogada boa.
So he keeps the cast out and put the other card on the bottom.
Right, so now he can cast out the Scarab God. And then very curious to see what he chooses to do with the Nissa here. He can choose to ultimate the Nissa and get in for 17 points of damage by animating 2 of his lands, turning them into 5/5 flyers, and on top of the Carnage Tyrant, that's 17. Shahar's currently has 17 life, so he's gonna need to actually chump block with the Glint Sleeve Siphoner.
Aqui por qual linha que ele consegue fazer. Basicamente, o Yan ele tem a opção de ultar a Nissa dele, bater 17. Forçar o Shenhar da block e aí jogar cast out. Ele tem a opção de fazer Teferi, desvirar cast out. Lá na frente ele fica bem também. Aí ele vai ultar.
Turn your lands into 5/5s and then attack with everything. He can also not. He doesn't actually have to cast out main phase.
He tapped it.
Oh, he floated the mana. Okay, this makes sense. Yeah.
And there we go.
E bateu.
Attack you for 17.
He's like, you have to jump.
You have to jump.
Plaquê.
You're gonna go to 1.
Plaquê, bloquear. Fica 1 de vida.
5/5s, but he still has Carnage Tyrant there as we mentioned, and
E vai.
putting out power and toughness is not what you're
Tiranão da massa. Punindo.
For a potential, I don't even know.
Gearhulk's still not big enough.
Yeah, Gearhulk doesn't do it. Teferi doesn't do it. And he can counter all of those.
Bora, vai pra draw.
Is Carnage Tyrant gonna go all the way here?
Coisa Gearhulk não faz muito, porque o Carnage Tyrant é 7/6, Gearhulk é 5/6. Então passa 1, que é exatamente o que ele toma para perder. Isso ele deixou um Settle the Wreckage aqui. Compra ele.
And now we're gonna see what looks to be a lethal attack.
I think I'm just trying to figure out like what could you have here? I mean, maybe settle the wreckage.
Provavelmente vai dar o Scry agora pra tentar achar um counter.
Right. You don't put Carnage Tyrant.
E daí ele faz Teferi e compra esse counter e bate.
And at this point, Shenhar has so many cards in hand. This is really your route to victory. You can't play a long game currently.
Gotta do it, Yami.
Get in there. Boom.
Oh, bateu.
Well, last time we wanted him to go to combat with 2 cards in hand. It didn't work out well for him when you and I were in the booth, but this time I think it will.
So what can he torrential Gearhulk
of trample?
Gearhulk, tomando counter.
Jace's defeat is going to counter it.
Right. And Shenhar
Jace's defeat. Isso daí era antes de disputa mística ser isso tudo, tá ligado? A galera usava Jace's defeat. Então aqui vamos para o game do Modern. Mana Vial, que é o que o Huang mais quer nessa match. Lembrando que se o Rizzi ganhar, acaba.
Whether or not you have that turn 1 vial, but no second land.
I would say his win percentage has shifted downwards sharply in the face of that missed land drop, though. His deck doesn't need that. I mean, it curves out at what, 3?
And Mateo Rizzi has Celestial Purge in hand. You might be asking, why did he bring those cards in? Well,
se o Huang tiver zicado de terreno, aí fica difícil. E vai.
Anything in his sideboard that he has to bring in that's somewhat relevant, he'll bring in. So Celestial Purge does have a few targets, not a
Pior que eu
ton,
acho que ele,
but
tipo,
he
ele
can
comprou
hit
o Nobre Hierarca agora, tá ligado?
Surrender
By the
out of
way,
How
Tá na
Shenhuang's
mão.
list.
there's one right now. And there it is, Celestial Purge to take
Purge.
it out. And he does
Achar em nada.
resolve the ability, but he won't.
Quando tem términos, é
As
foda.
every Booter kind of has the,
A match já é um cu. Ela vem assim.
where, with the trigger on the stack, if you do kill it, you know, you get to show your opponent your hand, but you will not actually lose a card. Unlike a card like Mesmeric Fiend that have existed in the past. Or Tide Hollow Scholar?
Yeah, even Oblivion Ring.
Right.
Acha alguma coisa. Ele vai fazer. Ele. Deixa eu ver se ele consegue fazer nada de novo. O Rizzi sorrindo já, falando, ih, deu bom, hein? Pelo jeito deu bom.
So How Shenhuang, currently, all of his spells will be cast more or less with just that Ether Vial. And it looks...
Tal, comprou uma outra carta que é muito boa. Ele tá com Gadok, que é uma carta muito boa. Tá com Mythia Bugler. Ele tá com várias cartas boas, só que tem que ter terreno, né?
Right. Okay, he does have a Gadok.
That shuts out a lot of the cards from Mattia Rizzi.
Yeah.
Let's see, right now he's got
Gadok.
God, Terminus, Cryptic Command in his hand.
Que pune bastante. Vai atrasar muito a vida do Rizzi, mas pelo não motivo.
Now, there's a lot of answers to a Gadok T. You get a Path to Exile or something along those lines, but still.
Tem que achar terreno pra voltar. Parou de dar risada, falou, pô. É que tem um Snapcaster ali que pode ser desagradável. Ele é um clique. Ele mesmo. Terminus profundo. Pra. Mas não vai tomar pressão também. Então. E se ele achar mais um terreno, ele tem Snap pra Purge pra alguma outra.
They're still trying to figure out what they want to do here with the Ether Vial.
Yeah, you heard Eduardo Sajgalik talking to Haoshan and saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter right now, but don't tick it up," is what he said before.
Yeah. He has just a ton of 2s in his hand, so he really wants to be able to deploy those. And I think the moment he draws the second land is when he could consider going up to 3 on the Ether Vial.
And he did.
Ardo ali. Para de falar com o cara.
Oh, he did.
Velho, faz tal coisa. Vamos tentar desenvolver esse game aí. É horrível.
You have to figure that Rizzi would have used a Path to Exile already if he had one. Right. So you may just be taking away something redundant, something that the Gadok T is already shutting off, but
this is interesting. So the only card that Rizzi can cast is the
ele tem como as cóleras. Tudo nas costas do Gadok. Gadok é quem tá punido. Gadok era uma das grandes cartas do Humans pra vencer algumas partidas. Você taxava o cara com gosto na base do Gadok.
The way it's currently set up, you know, Rizzi can't even attack with the Gadok T, so there isn't even a huge clock currently. So if the game
can't attack.
Right, so if the game goes long, you want to kind of plan around that. Now, if the game does go long, Ancestral Vision is also a very, very strong card. So, you know, that could just be the card that he chooses to take here. Snapcaster being the only card that Sin Collector cannot take.
He decides to take the only card left that was A, targetable by Sin Collector, and B, castable by Rizzi. Is that a land off the top for Mattia?
I'm not sure. Might have been a Field of Ruin.
I love it. We've got Eduardo Sajgalik, who, you know, sometimes joins us in the booth at the Grand Prix, and he's doing a little commentary for us down on the floor, telling
aquela coisa, pro Huang achar, cara, você achar uma caverna.
Yeah, he's like, well, now he's got to draw a path, or...
E na dúvida, tipo, Sin Collector e tal, as outras coisas começam a conectar, fazer alguma coisa na partida. Terreno, muda dele e voltamos para a partida T2. E também, né, se o Shenhar ganhar, acaba. Se o Huang ganhar, aí tá. E voltamos para a partida Modern. O câmera está maluco.
So yeah, he's using a Field of Ruin to keep How Shenhuang off white mana.
He's got an island.
I think How Shenhuang, he actually has island and plains in his deck, so.
Okay.
He decided that island is the land that he preferred here. Allows him to cast Phantasmal Image if he draws any land.
Eduardo's a big Galactic fan at the moment. It is shutting off.
Tem drop 3 ali
At this point, outside of a Snapcaster.
na mão. Huang.
Hao Shenhuang really needs to find that second mana source. I mean, this Ether Vial has worked overtime, but...
É a mãozinha do cara de fora. Ó, bate aí, irmão. Bate aí. Tem que fazer alguma coisa, senão fica difícil de ganhar.
Though it looks like Rizzi's going to decline it and just go down to 18. Not a massive attack at this point. And no land here for Hao Shenhuang. He's just passed the turn back to Rizzi.
So Rizzi does still have that Snapcaster Mage in hand, so if he really wants, he can go Snapcaster Mage Celestial Purge to get the Sin Collector. And this looks
Bugler.
like a Bugler.
E pelo jeito o Rizzi também não desenvolve, né? Então, lentamente o Huang vai voltando pra esse jogo.
Something like a Mantis Rider.
Pode pegar o Rider, pega a Thalia.
So he chose to go with Thalia here because he does know that Rizzi has Snapcaster Mage in hand.
Oh,
so Mantis Rider doesn't do a whole lot.
You also can't take it.
Oh.
It's actually the only thing I think
they figured it out a little yeah, that's the only target Bugler, of course, can take because it has to
I think it's the only card in the deck, right?
Yeah.
Like everything's either 0, 1, or 2.
Cara, enquanto esse cara não comprar um terreno, vai ficar bem difícil.
Right, of course.
It was kind of funny because I think they were
É isso aí, vai visitando. 4.
Wait, but you can't do it.
Ele conseguiu fazer outro bicho? 6.
Oh, he has
O bicho? 8.
Canopy off the top for Haoshan as well.
Yeah. Big draw.
Parece que ele comprou o terreno, finalmente.
I think
Temos um jogo de Magic acontecendo agora.
Yes.
That is correct.
As the Sin Collector was cast.
Thalia.
Aware of
Got
the
chance.
contents of Rizzi's hand. Basically a bunch of uncastable spells.
Eu gosto muito como o Eduardo, o Sag, ele não tem pudor nenhum de tipo, ó, trigger, ó, tal coisa. A gente viu isso na rodada passada também, tipo, os caras não tem pudor nenhum, assim, de ó, tem tal trigger, tem tal coisa de vida, vira tal coisa. É frio o negócio.
They can also hold it, and one thing to keep in mind is, there's also that Field of Ruin, so, Rizzi could look to Field of Ruin that Horizon Canopy.
Good point. But he's going to respond. This is Thalia on the stack, Path to Exile targeting Gaddock Teague, and that's going to resolve.
Right.
The interesting part about the Field of Ruin.
Ele achou o PF, agora abriu a porteira.
Yeah, there are only 2 basics in the humans deck, so now it will basically be a way to, destroy Hao Shenhuang's land, but Rizzi will get his own land, so just a better wasteland.
But instead what he's going to do is he's going to use Snapcaster Mage to target his Path to Exile, and it looks like Mattia's the one who wants the lands. He's going to target his Snapcaster Mage with the Path.
Using the Path as a...
O Rizzi agora, tipo, ele segurou um pouco o Path, né, e é assim que o Huang achou o terreno, ele falou, ok, não tô mais... Não importa mais, vamos dar o PF no cara. E agora eu vou dar PF no meu próprio terreno pra eu achar alguma coisa e liberar meu jogo, porque meu jogo também custa, né, tá 3 toneladas de peso, eu tenho que começar a fazer alguma coisa nesse jogo. Gaddock ganhou um tempinho, mas não desenvolveu em cima, foi só 2 de dano com isso.
Now he can buy himself multiple turns of taking no damage and drawing multiple cards per turn. And let's not forget, he's at 18.
Interesting.
Decided to kill the Sin Collector rather than the Bugler there. 2 damage either way, but...
então agora ele consegue dar comando crítico também quando ele precisar, lembrando que não tem uma caverna ali, então pode ser bem mais interessante. Tem términos, dá pra enrolar bastante do lado. Terreno não tem como fazer. Quantos? Viva. Elite a Bugler.
step with Mattia Rizzi at 16, but with the
Algo acontecendo nesse jogo aí.
Is Haushan just forced to just jam here?
Outra talha, que
Like he's adding a lot to his
consideravelmente pior,
board,
mas
and
tudo bem.
Terminus could be a major issue
Right.
with one more land from Rizzi.
Yeah, I think at this point he has just about enough pressure on the board to attack. Oh, but keep in mind, Matteo Rizzi has a Celestial Colonnade.
He does
on-
indeed.
on the
No
battlefield.
viable attacks for Haushan at this point.
Right.
Boy, this one's starting to look like it's shaping up in Mattia Rizzi's favor.
Yeah, are they really
O Matteo
considering
Rizzi
throwing a creature to deal
tem
with
uma
the
Celestial
damage?
Colonnade, tá ali
Alternatively,
pertinho de
what
uma
they
ilha.
could do
Não
is
tem como
maybe
fazer um ataque
wait
bom
one
em cima
more turn,
do
put
bate
a little
dele.
more pressure onto the
Pra você
battlefield,
faça tipo vários wards.
before choosing to kind of throw away their
E se ele
resources.
forçar muito dano, o Matteo Rizzi pode só dar um comando, tap, draw, tentar achar o terreno.
They have a Selfless Spirit in hand,
Zaz,
which is
zaz,
very,
zaz.
very good against Wrath of God and Supreme Verdict. Not so much against Terminus.
Mattia Rizzi is sitting back, arms crossed, little smile on his face. I think he thinks he's in good position here,
Yeah.
and I think I agree with him.
Right. I mean, the humans deck just can't really afford to play actual spells in their deck, so it's not like they're going to be holding Path to Exile up here. Potentially, maybe there's like a Dismember or something that Hao could have brought in as a way to deal with the Celestial Colonnade.
Would be annoying, but even with that in mind,
Right.
Rizzi wouldn't die.
O jeito ele vai pra cima mesmo, dane-se.
Oh,
Bum!
look at this. All right. Oh. And
E o
now
Rizzi falou, não vou ativar não, tô tomando.
Very quickly from Rizzi, by the way. He knew he was not going to be either activating or using Cryptic Command. He's like, sure, go to combat, sure,
Mano.
take the damage.
All right.
Não tem aquele Vial na Draw Step, né, pra tentar pegar alguma
What's the
coisa
game
What
plan
the
here?
play here is.
humana.
So the
Acho-
reason why
E pro Huang tá
does
tipo,
not want to act
assim
with
pra mim tá bom.
units onto the battlefield, is because
Comando, vai dar bounce do...
is
Eu acho-
because,
será que ele vai
they already
tentar
used
preparar o
Sajgalik
Terminus
earlier.
dele?
They know that Rizzi has access to
Não,
Terminus.
não,
So all Rizzi
desvira.
needs to do is play land number 7, and then he can just sweep the board.
É engraçado que quando eu jogava contra Terminus, parecia que os caras tinham essa merda
So
toda
Rizzi
hora.
decided that
Você vê os
prioritizing
decks
the
assim, tipo,
Vial and getting
cara
that
sofre pra
off
dar
the
Terminus,
board
tá?
reset was
Mas
more
parece que quando
than
você joga contra, é no milagre toda hora, tá ligado?
This cryptic
Piscou,
command
milagre.
draw card.
And I think
With
he,
the land here, he can Terminus.
and it looks like he does have the land here. So he's kind of asking, what do I want to do? Do I want to cast a Terminus this turn, or do I want to use Field of Ruin to prevent Hao from casting his spells? Because the Field of Ruins, Hao is out of basic lands in his deck. All he is basically only just forced to
Já
cast
foram
his
os
deck
dois
and
básicos
not
do
getting
Humans, o Matteo Rizzi sabe disso.
He has another Field of
Ele vai
Ruin
ganhar um
in place.
tempinho bom agora.
Let me just do this again on the-
Inclusive ele pode tomar mais pressão antes de fazer esse
Taking a
Terminus.
live look in at our other table, we've had to start them given time constraints. We're going to try to watch both at the same time because this
E
round
cólera.
can end at any
And
point,
he drew
and there
Wrath
was a
of God.
Wrath of God in hand. And there we go. We've got Mattia Rizzi's match on the bottom part, and then the decider between Yam Wing Chun.
E o Dinossaurão do Mal já está na mesa pelo lado do Winshu.
Remember, if either Mattia Rizzi or Shenhar
E
win,
toma-lhe turno
then
extra.
the round's over.
Right. That's a Carnage timer on the battlefield on Yan Wing Chun's side.
Definitely. He's also resolving an anticipate.
Fazer Isle,
Imagine that thing's going to be turning itself sideways fairly soon.
abrir arca e Itália. Itália. Vai tentar atrasar a vida. Aqui a vida do Matteo Rizzi não tá ruim, então o filho dele com certeza está muito feliz.
Right.
So things still looking quite good for Mattia Rizzi and company. But you never know.
Yeah. So currently, this is probably not enough pressure on the battlefield for Rizzi to pull the trigger on the Terminus. So, currently what he can do is still just keep up that Celestial Colonnade.
Enquanto isso, o Winshu
And with that Noble Hierarch,
batalhando pra ganhar a partida dele, ele tá muito bom, né? Provavelmente a esperança do trio do Shenhar é essa partida do Matteo Rizzi.
and if anything,
End vai.
wild happens, Matteo Rizzi is still leaning on a Cryptic Command that he has in hand.
The best is when you can activate Colonnade and still cast Cryptic.
O bom pro Huang é que como resetou o Vial, ele vai poder fazer tipo Vial pra 2 instant speed agora, e que era uma situação que ele não tava conseguindo fazer no passado.
My fair share of that Celestial Colonnade.
Oh yeah.
Interestingly enough, it's possible that that cryptic command on that Ether Vial has actually helped Huang because his hand is full of 2-mana cards. And if he can get that Ether Vial up to 2, now he has a bunch of 2-mana threats that are uncounterable.
Vários terrenos pra reciclar.
Oh, look
Huang
at
pensando como é que ele vai jogar isso aqui.
Chun's best. That's 2 Carnage Tyrants on the
Provavelmente ele falou
battlefield.
combate.
I really don't
Matia
think
Rizzi
Shenhar
pode
has
falar,
anything in his
cai
deck
dentro.
to deal with those threats.
Destrói o terreno.
Double the carnage.
Double Carnage ali pelo lado do... Os caras não estão conseguindo marcar o jogo direito ali. Mais pelo lado do Yunshun. Inshun.
I mean, so
E provavelmente o Shenhar vai perder esse jogo e vai ficar tudo pra essa partida aqui do Huang contra o Matia Rizzi.
you know, he
E
still needs to
opt.
find one of his planeswalkers to really kind of run away
Pro
with.
fundo e...
He's still kind of 1-for-1ing.
Nope. Tem
And
milagres.
Haoshan's mana problems early meant that he's got a lot of
Isso aí foi ele passando. Tá.
cards in hand here.
Tá.
Yeah, he has a vial that he can put on 2, a lot of creatures, and he's got 2 Horizon Canopies, which he can use to look for more humans.
He also, resolved 2 Militia Buglers, which both netted him cards
Right.
earlier.
And this is exactly the type of matchup where you want the Militia Bugler. It's just a grinded out matchup where, you just, Mateo Rizzi...
Ah, da Draw, Caverna. Caverna é uma carta muito boa pro
Bugler just keeps refueling
o
your
Huang aqui, pra ele se manter nessa partida. Pelo lado ali do Yingxun, ele tá sentando o dedo.
Okay, looks like Yam Wing Chun just won his
Yeah,
match.
o Yingxun ganhou a partida do Shenhar, então fica realmente pra esse game decidir
Mateo Rizzi can lock
a
himself
12ª rodada.
victory in this game. If he does not win this game, we will get a game 3 decider. And as we mentioned before, yeah, the team on the right swept all the game ones, but it doesn't always end up so simple. Back-to-back wins for
Tá
Yam.
1-0 pro Matia Rizzi.
It's all about modern here.
Carnage Tyrant
Round
cannot
12.
be stopped.
No. Haoshan said, I'd like to go to combat. And Matthias said, sure.
He's like, all right,
It's your funeral, buddy. And Haoshan said, go.
this looks like a potential bounce of the Ether Vial again.
Bounce Intervile.
That's exactly what it is, Paul.
Vira tudo.
So now,
Aí ele teria que fazer em
Huang
resposta.
is aware that Rizzi has Terminus in hand. He might want to put in Kitesail Freebooter in response to the Cryptic command to try to nab that Terminus and see what Rizzi is working with.
That's exactly what he's doing. Not a lot to work with here for Mattia Rizzi.
Well, actually,
Terminus?
he's got a Snapcaster Mage. Keep in mind, he did cast a Wrath of God. So he does have a Wrath of God in his graveyard.
Bom, compra a carta, não acha nada.
But then he gets the Terminus back.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
All right, so that looks like the clear line of play now for Rizzi. Critical mass on the other side of the table means it's time to say goodbye.
There's enough on the board.
Ele consegue fazer tipo Snapcaster Cholera, salvo engano. É, Snapcaster Cholera.
Wrath of God. But it's not even clear, like, if Rizzi is that far ahead here. How should
He
I
really
again?
does need that Planeswalker.
Right. I mean, maybe he sideboarded some number of them out because they're not really great if your opponent is pressuring your life total.
Also, the Ancestral Vision that he had taken away earlier by the Sin Collector would have been coming off of suspend like last turn and probably would have propelled him to the victory quite easily.
E
So there we go. Snapcaster
Ai.
and Wrath of God sweeps the board. Mattia Rizzi with 10 lands passes the
não
turn.
draw.
And Haoshan's going to cash in the last of those Horizon Canopies.
So we are getting close to that point where Rizzi might start looking to get in with that Celestial Colonnade. He's got a ton of lands on the battlefield. He actually, let's take a look. He's got 5 lands to activate the Colonnade, and if he draws one more land, he can live the dream.
Oh, yeah.
Little offense and defense.
Caverninha ali do amor, vai nomear e... Teacher Bugler. Ótima carta pra ele resolver.
Right.
Tem o Terminus ali ainda, mas tipo, Bugler, se ele achar mais uma carta... Pô, o Meddling Mage é muito bom.
Look at this, a Meddling Mage.
O foda é as mainlands.
Has the Terminus.
because Hao Huang is aware of the Terminus in Rizzi's hand.
But he can't deploy it this turn because he chose to play Ether Vial instead.
I think it's time to attack. He drew a land. He has enough mana to activate, attack, and activate for blockers.
He certainly thinks
Bateu
the same thing.
4,
You're down to 14
vai a
for you.
14, tem como fazer land. Ficar com mais um bloco pra trás, vai.
Go.
All right, it's a race.
Generally speaking, I would favor Haoshan in these race situations, but this one could be close.
Yeah, but you know he still needs to find a way to attack through the colonnade. For example, he is unable to attack with the Bugler this turn because Rizzi has enough mana to block the colonnade with the colonnade this turn.
Also, Rizzi can really turn on the afterburners and attack with 2 colonnades at some point.
Right. If he plays another land, he can attack with both colonnades next turn. It is a little bit risky because then he can't block, and Hao might be able to have enough pressure on the board.
Medley Mage, provavelmente vai ser pra Terminus.
If you draw something like Athalia's Lieutenant.
Yeah, it's so
Okay.
annoying because the humans deck actually is explosive. It doesn't have, much haste, just the Mantis Rider, but it can actually pile on a ton of damage.
Ele pode fazer Phantasmal pra Bugler. Vamos ver se ele já jogou terreno. Tenente. Com Tenente ele pode pensar em fazer um ataque enorme na volta. E aí o game fica bem diferente.
There's Thalia's Lieutenant.
Yep.
Let's race.
So that'll put a counter on
20,
both.
marcador,
Does Hao
marcador.
Shenhar have something like a noble hierarch in hand? If he did, he would be able to attack with the Bugler because it would have exalted.
Ele falando, faço terreno? Não, guarda pra você. Deixa quieto.
This is close. But Rizzi does have a
Ele
lot
comprou,
of
me pareceu que é outro terreno.
I think he just drew another land. Where are the Planeswalkers? Certainly he was supposed to have seen one by now. Maybe he boarded some out. It doesn't seem like
Isso que o time aqui do Huang já tem um empate, né? Outro empate pra ele seria bem ruim. Na real, o empate é ruim pra todo mundo nisso aqui. É muito difícil fazer o top 4 se empatar. Tem que ganhar. No caso, o Huang tem que ganhar 2 jogos. 4. Vai a 10. Colonnade vai.
Okay, so this is a huge turn. What is Hao Shenhar working with here? He's got a Phantasmal Image. He can file in Phantasmal Image to copy the Thalia's Lieutenant, which then allows his Bugler to attack through the colonnade.
Oh boy. You see the hand of
Ponto ali, dá pra fazer isso aqui, dá pra fazer isso aqui, dá pra fazer uma Phantasmal Image ali no meio da brincadeira e aumentar um tenentão do nada.
Okay, so not playing around counter magic here. Just casting the Phantasmal Image.
Olha, bicho, tenente.
and it's going to resolve.
Tunou a galera.
Now, counter gets placed on all of the creatures, and the Thalia's Lieutenant gets 2 counters. One from the Phantasmal Image and one from its own ability. And then now Hao also has a Noble Hierarch that he can play.
Which would be even more damage.
Right, which would then put an additional counter on the Thalia's Lieutenant, meaning that the Thalia's
E
Lieutenant
ele
here can also attack if it wants to.
e bate com tudo. 4,
Don't
tem
think he wants to
8,
attack with that melee
12.
mage. Does he have a lethal attack here?
Tem um ataque daí, o cara vai ativar a mainland. E aí ele faz selfless, ele pode proteger essa mesa.
So Rizzi does have to activate Colonnade, but by doing so, he does need to sacrifice Flooded Strand and go down to 9 life.
But he can still block, right?
He can still block, and he can actually...
Já imaginou que ele vai bloquear Meddling Mage, e aí ele vai jogar selfless, vai salvar, e aí fica pro topo a brincadeira.
It's possible that we're missing something here. Because this is...
He has a Selfless Spirit in hand. He has a Selfless Spirit in hand, Paul.
Yeah, but that does not stop Terminus. It gives all your creatures indestructible.
It would, but it would leave the Meddling Mage alive.
Okay,
so
right.
Can't...
Tá vendo como é que ele vai bloquear. Ele tá pensando, pô, se ele tem mais um humano na mão, eu perco. O Hit tá pensando nisso, tipo, na questão do humano. Se ele bloquear o tenente, é safe, ele não perde. Só que daí tem menos outs nesse game. E daí o Huang encaixa o Selfless no passe, mesmo em cima de uma cólera e boa. Aqui ele forçou, Selfless.
But Haoshan's going to have to cash in the Selfless Spirit now to maintain that Terminus lock. Now,
vai a 1 de vida. Ele achar a remoção, ele dá Terminus. Ele achar uma cólera diferente, ele limpa a mesa também. E ele ainda pode comprar um Mantis Rider. E Game 3. O cara voltou pra esse jogo. Vamos agilizar aqui.
Oh, he had another card. Oh, that right, because he was on the draw.
He kept and he's on the draw, and we're underway here in game number 3. Ether Vial kicks things off for Haoshan with a pair of tap lands here for Mattia Rizzi. And they're all the pressure now on this one match. They're going to have their teammates standing by because this is huge. These teams came in with 2 different records. Haoshan's team has an 8-2-1 record with a draw there. And on the other side, Wilson, Rizzi, and Shenhar are up against it. With an 8-3 record right now, they do not have a loss to give to keep their dream alive for making a top 4. So everything's on the line. And in Mattia Rizzi's hands,
they're both trying to end the game. There's not a lot of time left. They want. They cannot afford another. They cannot.
Ele simplesmente comprou nada.
So both players, you know, at this point, Rizzi's playing face up here. He's like, write what you got to do. But, you know, we just want to make sure we can end this game in a timely fashion.
Dando tal, vendo como é que ele vai exilar a mão do gente. Eu gosto que o Huang tá anotando vida, tem um bloquinho com ele e o Eduardo Sajgalik, ele tá do lado fazendo a mesma coisa. Vamos fazer um double check aqui que é pra não ter problema.
He could go for, because of the information, he could go for the main phase Vendilion click. Try to see if Haoshan Huang has something like a Thali's Lieutenant that he wants to get out of his hand. Might target himself if he really feels like he needs to find a sweeper. But I think he's going to target Hao.
Vendilion click. Dá aquela checada na mão. Huang. Militia Bugler, provavelmente. Apesar de Medley Mage também ser igualmente irritante pra ele, né? Bugler é bom porque acha coisas, mas tendo ir por outra linha. Aí desvira. Então ali dá pra fazer pra 1, fazer um drop 2 e atacar em cima dessa Vendilion Click. O problema só é que, tipo, é muita coisa ainda.
So I could see this turn being a situation where, you know, he plays out Champion of the Parish, then plays out Noble Hierarch, and then maybe even put a Phantasmal Image onto the battlefield. I don't know. But he certainly wants the 2/2 Champion of the Parish that he currently has on the battlefield to become
Ó, que é entrando numa cólera, né? Que ele tem informação de como é que tava a mão do oponente previamente. Que é a melhor linha mesmo. E ele pode fazer Phantasmal Image pra copiar. Portal.
Look at this start.
Wow, this is explosive stuff here for Haoshan.
And this is the thing with this humans deck, right? It's got all these really disruptive.
Como fazer uma segunda. Os caras avisando todos os triggers do universo. E tem que fazer mesmo, cara. E ajudar o coleguinha a ganhar o jogo. Comando, nada. A Tia Rizzi tá vendo um game assim, absolutamente surreal fugir das mãos dele. É, se vier uma cólera aqui, a Tia volta do nada pro jogo. Mas não dá pra negar que ele deve estar, tipo, choque total. E Veredito.
Oh, a supreme verdict off the top of the library for Rizzi. Don't forget to get in there. Get in for
Bate 3, vai a 15. O Huang já deve estar pensando, putz, pra ele bater. Cólera. E volta 2 Veredito. 2 comandos pra mão.
Turns out when you team with Shenhar, it rubs off on you.
Oh my
Nice
goodness.
top deck from Rizzi. Passes the turn back to Haoshan with no board.
That is brutal. Now,
O Militia Bugler pra tentar voltar, mas cara, tem 2 comandos na mão. Precisaria achar. Ok. Gadok provavelmente seria a carta pra tentar voltar pra esse jogo.
Right? Thalia is reasonable. I mean, he does have 2 cryptics.
He also found he has multiple options to choose here. Thalia is one of them. I believe there's a Kite Sail Freebooter as a choice as well.
Yeah, Freebooter might actually be the better choice here, just to try, have something on the board that deals with that can prevent Rizzi from chaining multiple.
Tindo ali, pelo jeito eles vão pegar Freebooter, vai tirar aquele comando da mão do Rizzi.
That was huge.
Just under 7 minutes to go, and we've got ourselves a real game here.
Ali, opa, o que vai fazer, o que não vai fazer.
He could also choose to just play 2 Ether Vials if he wants.
Vai de Bugler. Sabe as cartas na mão, tem um comando ali. O game tá muito mais tranquilo. Acha outra cólera.
Do you just do it?
I mean,
he doesn't have to, but
he doesn't.
Is it getting better?
But the thing is, if you use the Wrath here, like Huang has to rebuild again, and then your Celestial Colonnades can really just keep everything at bay. But it looks like he's going to be a little more patient here and try to get at least 1 more card out of Huang's board.
Really
Bateu.
bad for Haoshan. He drew
3.
another Ether Vial.
Vai a 10. Tipo, o Rizzi quer ser agora hiper seguro. Não quer ver fugir esse jogo da mão dele.
Alright, so this was big though. Actually, that's a meddling mage.
He's got a
Meddling Mage nomear comando crítico, ele vai tomar
So he can actually
uma
use
cólera
the
tão da hora.
meddling mage
But he's
name-
going to name Cryptic.
Pile.
Yeah, he could have named Cryptic. Oh, but he's just going with
Pile.
the here instead.
E aí fica muito engraçado, porque agora, tipo, encaixa tudo isso. Beleza. Aí ele volta, dá cólera, 2 comandos pra mão. Aí volta, Meddling Mage, comando. Vai dar o primeiro já, pra atrasar ali. Aí fica um pouco menos taxado esse aqui.
Interesting that he's in the similar spot that he was last time, and may just want to lean on that second copy of Cryptic Command rather than playing the Wrath of God straight away. He also has more
Terreno pro
incentive to do so. He's got a
Huang não
path
busca
that
nada,
comes in now.
pega mais um terreno, dá a cólera agora.
Time is
E aí é uma questão dele tentar finalizar esse jogo rápido.
quickly. So if you notice, he's shuffling very quickly because
Certainly is.
I feel like if you are Rizzi, you do realize that you are in the lead here. You have that extra sweeper, you have the path.
O jeito que o Rizzi tá embaralhando,
He's
cara.
going with the proactive Wrath.
Tá voando nisso.
I gave you the opportunity to play another creature, you didn't play it, so now I'm gonna go with the Wrath, and I'm gonna try to end the game with Colonnade as quickly as possible.
So for now, though, it's going to be meddling
Mage, comando crítico, mas
That's
eu.
what he has in his hand, and you know it.
Virou, tal.
Hack, look at
Foi,
that.
4.
This
Vai.
is the game plan. It's going to take 4 hits to get the job done.
4 turnos de ataque.
Currently wins this race very easily thanks to Path to Exile.
Vai.
Yeah, he's got the path to exile for the meddling mage, and then he also has, the cryptic command in case something else goes wrong as well.
Yeah, Path really perfect here as well.
Virando teste pra cardíaco,
does
amigo.
have Selfless Spirit in his hand, and that's
Right.
just not
Entrou,
gonna do
amigo.
anything. There is Noble Hierarch with the attempt to
New
make the
Age.
clock faster, but that's just going to
Opt.
opt into
He's
Path.
going for the opt first in case he hits a terminus here. Looks like he doesn't, but he hits a detention sphere.
That's also pretty good considering that there's 2 Ether Vials over there. Although I don't even know if those are.
Vai buscar pelo terreno, o Rizzi tá só. Vai. Porque assim, entrou em turnos, ele consegue ganhar.
I was just. I kind of assumed it because hey, there's 2 cards, but
Right.
no, he's only drawing a card a turn, right?
Right, you could just save those detention spheres for the actual threat that Huang plays.
Daram ali os pontos de vida, né? O terreno deu uma punidinha boa.
That is tough to say no to. But in the meantime, I think that it's highly in Rizzi's
O pior é que pro Rizzi, tipo, ele pode terminar o jogo em 3 turnos ou ele pode fazer essa esfera. E aí dá um turno a mais. Mas essa esfera parece muito bom. Provavelmente ele vai definir o plano de jogo dele agora, daí fica mais fácil. Ele vai para a jogada segura.
He has 3 turns to take from the colonnade, but now he is going for the detention spear on the triple ether vial. No more vials for Huang.
This probably limits him to just one card per turn, though.
Ah, combate. Pode tomar comando.
Selfless Spirit with the Exalted Trigger. Attacks for 3. I think Rizzi's gonna think twice in response.
Twice.
Hit again.
Ele acha alguma coisa. Não achou. Não tem términos aqui. Vai a 7. Tá ficando estranho, cara. Esse game tá ficando estranho.
He could hold on to it. At the same time, he might want to just use his mana every turn to try to dig and find one of those planeswalkers that he has in his deck.
Thalia's Lieutenant, but of course the Selfless Spirit is the one that, I agree, is the one not human in the deck.
That's a Condemn.
Condemn, could have used that. Get a little
Esther, uma carta que pode ficar agressivo. E vai. Agora ele tem que jogar pra trás.
I think he's gonna go for Condemn Snapcaster Path.
Just completely clear the board.
Right. Then he can start attacking with the colony, because he has mana to do that. He has mana to Condemn or Path, and on top of that, also he has Cryptic Command available as an option.
I see. Yeah, that does.
Agora ele já. Agora o Matias Rich tem que dar uma. Boy, isso não é bom.
That is a Mantis Rider.
Uh-oh. These have been nice draws here.
This is going to be the triple removal turn.
So it's
or double removal. He's going to be able to Condemn and Path to Exile.
E vai.
Huang attacks with everything, and this is.
Oh wow! And
here's the fireworks.
Snapcaster will block Thalia's Lieutenant here as well.
Yeah. This should be the winning sequence for Mattia Rizzi.
Oh, okay.
Mainland, Condemn.
He wants to block with Colonnade and then just cast the
Condemn on the Mantis Rider.
Condemn.
Yeah.
Okay, that also works. He's only taking 3 damage here. He's going to 4, and he gets to basically eat a creature for free in this exchange.
I think that the players have also kind of accepted that we're probably going to go to turns here, but that's a game that Mattia Rizzi can win anyway.
Right. And the Condemn was actually nice because how is that 12? That's still a 3-turn clock.
Oh, yes.
From the Celestial Colonnade.
Yep. Another Snapcaster off the top means lots of.
E vai pra turnos, pelo jeito, essa partida.
Turn back again. I think he's just playing until turns hits.
Right.
Alguma coisa.
I think we might see like an aggressive Snapcaster here. We could see Snapcaster Path.
Thalia.
There's Thalia.
Ok.
Snapcaster Path is almost certainly.
Tem como bater 4 em cima da mainland e atrasar razoavelmente a vida do adversário.
Huang can choose to attack with Thalia's Lieutenant for the colonnade, but it looks like he's going to wait to draw 1 more human to be able to have an Exalted Trigger and attack for 5. Alright, looks like it's going to go to turns here.
Caster para.
There's Snapcaster Mage from Mattia Rizzi.
E chamou tempo já.
Exile?
Yeah, he's just gonna go for Path.
I think he's gonna target Thalia so that he can also flashback Think Twice this turn.
No more basics left in the deck for Huang. And there's Think Twice somewhere in there. There it is.
Ice. Agora pode jogar com calma. Agora foda. Agora provavelmente vai juntar o time e os caras vão jogar com a maior calma do universo.
He has a second Snapcaster.
Oh, he does? Okay, okay. That is also an aggressive play.
Hey, now's the time.
Right?
Put your cards on the table.
Keep in mind, Rizzi also has Cryptic Command in hand, which you can use aggressively, right?
That's right.
If he goes Snapcaster Mage Opt, attack with Colonnade.
Tá vendo o que ele vai fazer exatamente?
Two Snapcasters plus Colonnade, that is a lethal attack.
Yeah, anybody who's ever tried to race Cryptic Command knows that does not work out.
Right,
well.
and Huang does not have those Ether Vials in play anymore, so he can't flash in a creature either. He has to just play whatever humans that he draws.
Okay, it is just going to be Think Twice.
Ice. Tô determinando em que turno. Tá.
Choose not to. They were asking about the Path to Exile, a little different than the Field of Ruin, which is what he just drew for the turn.
A tendência é esse game acabar rápido. 4, vai 8.
Mattia Rizzi in turn probably 0.
Então a minha dúvida é no turno de quem que vai começar o rolê. Se foi no do Rizzi, que foi 1, ou se vai ser no do Huang. Esse draw foi bom. E a turno 2. Aqui faz o jogo empatar. Vai tirar o comando dele, volta pra mão, coloca, exila, tira a utilidade da carta. E tem a Vendilion pra chegar perto de bater letal. 2, 3, 4, 5. Ele consegue fazer um ataque e 2 ataques. Ele consegue ter letal.
That's going to get in for 5, meaning that Rizzi would need to double block to actually kill it, but Rizzi might also just chump block here with the Snapcaster Mage and try to win in the air.
Yeah, he still has a 2-turn clock regardless.
Bater com os dois. Dentro do Huang ganhar, ele tem que bater com os dois, porque daí ele chama um Champ Block. Aí depois é um ataque pra 3 e um ataque pra letal. 3, 4, 5, 6. E o Rizzi achasse mais um. Ele podia.
Because even with Huang playing with Sin Collector, with the trigger on the stack, he could have been able to tap down Huang's team and attack with.
Ele consegue tipo bater 3 e ficar 2 blockers e lidar com uma terceira. Tem que bater.
So they're going to first use Field of Ruin to take down Cavern of Souls. He does need to shuffle, but the
Tira a opção agora do Mind Spider.
you see on the battlefield for Haoshan are the only 2 in his library. Look at Shenhar, he's like, oh, this is such a spread. We're in turn 3.
Bate 3. E aí ele consegue dar Snap comando.
There has to be.
Right. Well, that would do it because this is turn 4, so Rizzi gets one more attack. And given that he has Snapcaster Mage in hand,
1, 2, 3, faz o 4, volta 5.
No.
Yeah, there is a cryptic in the yard.
So he can just tap down all those cards. Snapcaster, target cryptic command.
Críptico. Fala, joga.
He draws his card for the turn, but cryptic command does have the ability to be cast from the graveyard now.
Tap the team, draw a card.
Vai comprar.
And Mateer Rizzi is
Último
on turn
turno,
5
ele vai ativar main land.
He also drew another cryptic just in case.
Insurance.
Os caras tão não. Vira, brother, vira. Vai, não começa a gracinha, não. E bate, e acaba.
Wins for his team, MTGO Traders. And wow, they won.
E aí, bola, meu amor? Bom, esse foi o nosso 12ª rodada aqui do Pro Tour 25 anos, né? Lembrando, a gente vai fazer de todas as rodadas, mais tops, etc. Tem mais 2 rodadas ainda, né? 13ª e 14ª rodada, e aí semifinal e final, esse evento corte para o top 4. Vem aí com a gente no Comentando Jogos Clássicos.